the Sparks City Council meeting for Monday, February 12th with a roll call.
Mayor Lawson.
Here.
Council members Abbott.
Here.
Vanderwell. Here. Anderson.
Here.
Bybee.
Here.
Dare.
Here.
City Attorney Duncan.
Here.
Acting City Manager Crawford.
Here.
We have a quorum, thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll go for our invocation with Pastor Jordan McDermott from the Crosswinds Assembly of God.
Heavenly Father, we just want to thank you today for being here, for being alive. We're grateful for you. Lord, we want to thank you for the wonderful country that we live in, the United States of America. Lord, we are just blessed to live in such a great country. We want to thank you for the city of Sparks. And Lord, we just want to give you the glory today. Lord, I want to thank you for this city and all of our first responders here, the police department, the fire department, Lord, the first responders and the paramedics. And we want to thank you for our city leadership, Lord. And Father, we just ask, Lord, the Bible says to pray for those who are in leadership and in authority over us, Lord. So we pray, Lord, that you will give each one of them wisdom, that you will protect them as they serve the city, Lord. And that everything that we do today, Lord, and every decision that's made, every choice that's made, every discussion, that it will be pleasing in your sight. Father, we know that we're always going to have challenges and obstacles that we face in this life. But we believe, Lord, that you are the answer. And so we ask for your blessing upon this day and upon this meeting. We do this all in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Ms. Vanderwell, will you lead us in the pledge?
Yes, I will. If you'll please join me, I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Let's move on to public comment. We'll start with Matthew Wilkie, followed by William Seward. Come on up here and they'll light up one of those microphones for you, I hope. There you go. Thank you.
First time addressing this body, a little nervous, bear with me. My name is Matthew Wilkie, for the record, and I'm here to express my strong opposition to this and any proposed ordinance that would make it a criminal misdemeanor to be homeless and be living in your car. This ordinance basically criminalizes houselessness and is a clear violation of basic human rights. It is appalling that instead of addressing the root cause of houselessness and providing support and resources to those in need outside of the HOPE and/or SAFE team, pushing people to the at and over capacity of the CARES campus, the council is choosing to punish and marginalize the most vulnerable members of the community. This ordinance is not only heartless, but it is also ineffective in addressing the issues of houselessness. As elected officials, you have a duty to protect and serve all members of your community, not just those who are fortunate enough to have a roof over their heads and to donate to your campaigns. Making it illegal to be houseless is not the answer. It is a failure to address the underlying problems that lead to houselessness and a shameful display of disregard and well-being of our fellow citizens. I urge this council to reconsider this proposed ordinance and any ordinance and instead focus on implementing solutions that would provide support and assistance to those experiencing houselessness. The council should be ashamed for attempting to pass any ordinance and is just and inhumane. I know that many of you are on this dais consider yourself religious, and I'd like to point out some examples on how to not treat the houselessness. One example I look at is in the book of Matthew 25, 35 through 30, where he speaks of feeding the hungry, giving drink to the thirsty, welcoming strangers and clothing the naked, visiting the sick and the imprisoned, emphasizing that the needs, what you did for those of the least of these brothers and sisters, you did for me. So I'd like to let you stew on that before you vote on that. Also, the members that are on this dais, that are on the CHAB, I'd like you to ask Chair Hare to call a meeting. I know one of the members on this dais that's on CHAB worried about going to at-will meetings of the chair and basically eliminating it. We're going on 6 months of no CHAB meetings, which is what I know Councilmember Deere was worried about, eliminating it to the call. So the county's website says that any member on that body can call for a meeting. So I'm asking those of you on CHAB to please call a meeting. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. William Stewart, followed by Mark Markel.
Good afternoon. For the record, William T. Stewart. How's everybody doing today, post-Super Bowl? Couple of things. What I have on, I don't know if you turn on the overhead, please. What I have in front of you is a map of a bunch of recent fires that have taken place over the last 15 to 20 years. I've talked multiple times about fires within our community, talking about FireWise and how that's going to benefit not only HOAs, but also one of the things that just came to my attention is insurance here in Sparks. I received a letter from my insurance company, as well as one of my friends who just had their insurance policy canceled because of living in a so-called brush field. So that's something to take a look at. I know the fire chief's aware of that as well. I've talked to him and Pat Chu as well. The biggest things that we can do is make sure that we're actually providing prevention and education to homeowners. I know we have the possibility of applying for grants. You guys applied for a $225,000 grant back in December for the NDS so far as doing noxious weed abatement around the water treatment plant. Those are grants that are available to HOA owners. So that's something that we need to get out to the people. There's all kinds of information out there. The FireWise program speaks for itself. It's an NFPA program that's been very successful throughout the United States. My community, with the help of Christopher Dare, was able to establish that. Now I'm in Councilwoman Vanderwell's ward, but so having that education is a really big, important part of that. So you can see fire is a big part of where we live. And the insurance, we talked about that already, having people, I don't know how much time
Can
we
you
got
get
left.
the wolf vision off of there, Madam Clerk? Kind of hard to see with that right in the middle.
Yeah, and right over Sparks.
I thought it was yours too.
There
we
you go.
Thank you.
And the insurance is a big deal. People in California have been dropped right and left. Up at Lake Tahoe, they're being dropped right and left. If people can't find insurance, they're not going to be able to buy homes. What's going to happen to our real estate market? That's a huge issue. We got to get out in front of that. And then, what else are we going to talk about? Regionalization. So I know that that's been a topic of conversation for multiple years. I think the time is right for that to happen. Streamlining government, making sure that we can have a regional fire department so we don't have, I know everybody likes their own turf and everything like that. The Blue Ribbon Committee back in 2014 established that is something that we can do. I know it's 10 years old, but if you guys want that, I know Reno and Sparks did not participate in that, but that's something we should look at. Another thing is the JFAB. What happened to the Joint Fire Advisory Board? We used to have that. Those are conversations you can have with your other elected officials with the city of Reno as well as the city of, or the county, to talk to them about fire, because it's a big part of our community, and whatever we can do to make sure that we mitigate it in the best possible way is why I'm here. Thank you for your time. God bless.
Thanks, William. Okay, Mark Markel, followed by Elise Weatherly.
A Yucaipa man was in critical condition Friday at Loma Linda University Medical Center, where he was taken for treatment of head injuries after a car crash Thursday, authorities said. Mark Markel, 24, was thrown from a 1977 Datsun as it overturned on Live Oak Canyon Road at the eastbound Interstate 10 off-ramp at 4:30 p.m., said California Highway Patrol Officer Amber Drysdale. The driver was heading south on Live Oak Canyon Road when he lost control of the car, struck a curb, and skidded into the off-ramp. The vehicle rolled over several times and landed on top of Mark Markel.
Thank you. City council members, city manager, whoever, you guys, my name is Mark Markel, and I'm a Contour, Nevada resident. I was involved in this car crash. I don't read very good, and I can't talk very well. And I don't see good or hear good. I had a car land on my head, so I have this lady read what happened to me. Hopefully, God will me alive to show you people what can happen if you get in the car with a drunk driver. So please don't ride with drunk drivers. And I have a lot of issues. I'm mentally messed up. I just don't want to see any of you people go through what I'm going through. I lost my wife and my dad 5 months apart from each other. So I was getting over one, well, I wasn't really getting over. But people, you don't need to go through what I went through or what I'm going through. I just want to make sure you don't. I can't say that enough. I please don't get in the car, drink driver, or drink and drive. Thanks.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Elise Weatherly, followed by Alex, is it Milham? Did I say that correct?
Good afternoon. I just wanted to say hi and thank you guys. What I wanted to do is today seems to have be a day of unbelief. It's like some days you can tell people the truth and they don't want to hear it and they ignore you and they switch it and they twist it. But does that mean I'm off the hook for telling the truth? Nope. It just means what it is on record. I'm putting this on record. And I also know that God keeps everything on record. Why do you think I need forgiveness, right? So all I will say is that I met this man. I call him The Rock, R-O-C-H. I asked him, remember last time I was here, I said, do wolves in sheep's clothing know they're wolves in sheep's clothing? Without hesitation, this man said, yes, they do. And I went, oh, okay, now what do I do? He said, you look them in the eye and say, I know you're a wolf in sheep's clothing. I know who you are. But what about when I described, somebody had mentioned HOAs, right? I described the behavior of our board president, Highland Ranch Homeowners Association, her behavior, and without even hesitation, he had a little grin on his face and he said, narcissist. And I went, what? I've never really heard, the word narcissist before. I never investigated it. But what narcissists will do is be your best friend until you confront them or challenge them. Then you are the bad guy. Oh, by the way, I still have a $9,000 fine over me for bad behavior. And yes, I behave badly, okay? The other thing is, I asked this man, I go, do Pharisees know they're Pharisees? And we both kind of scratched our head and looked at each other. I don't think Pharisees know they're Pharisees. I think they think they're absolutely right and Christians and, religious and all that kind of stuff. So there are going to be some troubles in the end when the truth is revealed. All I will say too, I don't have that much time left, is that the aftermath of a brain surgery brings on this possible lack of taste buds. And you know what benefit that has? You have to pull up your pants now, okay? You can't taste as much, so you don't eat as much. What I will say too is that I have some songs out there that are not just crushing. I have one for SVGID called Blue Dye Ooh, because they contacted me and said, your water bill's a little expensive. And I went, what? And so they came up with their Blue Dye Ooh so we could see what was causing the leak. They fixed my problem. And so I wrote them a song. And I said, I wish every business in this stinking valley could be like them. They have honesty, they have integrity, they care about others, and they don't put on the label, I'm a Christian, so you have to believe what I say. There is a huge difference between religion and being in Christ. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Elise. Good. Are we going to get Mark helped out here? There we go. Alex, give me 1 minute. I don't want to interrupt your time.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah. Go on.
Thanks, Mark.
I'm sorry. That's okay.
All right. Alex, come on down. Alex Milham, followed by Andrea Pelto.
Hello, my name is Alex Milham, for the record. I'm a member of the Reno Sparks Tenant Union, and I'm here to voice opposition to proposed changes to the Sparks Municipal Code under Bill 2819, Agenda Item 10.2. This bill would make it a criminal misdemeanor to sleep in a car or on the sidewalk, among other things. This is a transparent attempt to criminalize people for being unhoused. It is cruel, and it will do nothing to address the reasons why people are left with no options but to sleep in their car or on the sidewalk. It seems like it's designed to remove our unhoused neighbors from sight by incarcerating them or displacing them from our community. If you want less people to be unhoused, you should be working on addressing skyrocketing rents and the lack of affordable housing options in the area. If you don't want people on the street, house them. I urge you to vote no on this inhumane bill. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Alex. Andrea Pelto, followed by Tom Dunn.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, City Attorney. So I just wanted to share with you, hot off the press, that we had our first Older Americans Month meeting, which is May. I'm sure you're all aware of that. So the info fair for this year's Older Americans Month will be on Wednesday, May 1st, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And I'd also like to request a proclamation from the mayor to be read at opening day at Older Americans Month.
Will you just send that email to Cindy, and we'll get that done for you? And
Absolutely.
she can put that on the calendars, too.
So thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrea. Okay, Tom Dunn, followed by Rosie Zuckerman.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of council, city manager Crawforth. For the record, I'm Tom Dunn, one of the vice presidents for the Reno Airport and Sparks Firefighters Association. Today, we're here in support of items 9.1, 9.2, and 9.3. 9.1 is the purchase of a new Type 1 fire engine for the City of Sparks Fire Department. We are in support of this. We are in support of this item. We understand that $1 million is a big amount of money for a brand-new fire engine. However, this is state-of-the-art safety equipment that it's going to protect the residents, visitors, and businesses of the city of Sparks. All fire apparatus are really expensive right now. It doesn't matter what you buy. We are in favor of Section 9.2, which resolves a grievance that we had to file on behalf of our retirees' health plan. In Section 9.3, we're in support of that because ultimately it will allow the City of Sparks Fire Department to move forward to provide the best possible service that they can to our community. One last thing I'd like to bring to your attention today is that the Postmaster General of the United States is considering closing the Vassar Street U.S. Postal Service processing facility. All mail that's currently going into that facility that is currently sent out Northern Nevada wide ultimately would be shipped across the pass, across Donner Summit to Sacramento, to be processed there, to be shipped back here for distribution to your residents. We believe that this is a bad piece of business. We believe it's going to have a negative impact on the community as a whole, whether it's getting out timely notification of sewer payments, jury duty notices, and more importantly, exercising your citizens' right to vote. So we would like to have you officially oppose the move of the Vassar Street facility being closed, as well as contacting our federal electeds in the United States Congress and Senate, as well as the Postmaster General of the United States, and officially oppose this action. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. All right, Rosie Zuckerman, followed by, I'm gonna murder this name, I'm sorry. Abratman? Okay.
Hi, my name's Rosie Zuckerman. I'm a part of a small group called Laundry to the People. We provide free laundry services to unhoused folks here in Sparks. Most people using our services are living in their cars or on the street or at the shelter. Here today to voice my concern for and my opposition to the city's proposal to criminalize homelessness, whether it's on the street or in a vehicle. I have not encountered a single person living in these conditions who wants to be in these conditions and is not trying to not be in these conditions. The people who are going to be affected by such an ordinance do not have any other options. They are people who have been laid off, suffered a medical expense, fled an abusive situation, received no-cause evictions. The list of unfortunate circumstances is endless. To punish these people is not to condemn a criminal act or any wrongdoing. It is to punish them for being poor and for trying to survive. I hope you will reconsider this inhumane proposal.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you say your name for me?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ilya Arbitman, for the record.
Thank you.
My name is Ilya Arbitman. Homelessness is a societal issue that a community can't arrest its way out of. That's Sparks City Attorney Wes Duncan talking to the RGJ in August of 2023. And yet here we are, considering an ordinance that proposes to do just that. What's going on? I live in Reno, not Sparks, but along with Rosie and some other people, I do weekly outreach work with our unhoused community here in Sparks. I'm part of the small crew that runs Laundry to the People, a community wash that has been operating for over 3 years now. Every Friday at noon, we offer completely free laundry services out of the Mr. Bubbles of Victorian and Rock, formerly the Rock and Bee. When someone comes in to use our services that does not look down and out, we have a brief conversation where we inform them that the community wash, although available to everyone, is really intended for those most in need who simply cannot afford to do their laundry. Very often, we then learn that this person who looks pretty together, so to speak, is actually living in their car. We know it's challenging to actually count how many people are homeless in our region at any given time. It's even more challenging to try and include those who are living in their cars or vehicles. There are many, many more people living in their cars than we think. For the vast majority, many of whom are families with children, this is far from a choice. Rather, it is a last resort, the only livable response to getting evicted, divorced, undergoing unexpected medical and or financial hardship, or just plain old bad luck. You lose your apartment and you move into your car. All over the country, more and more people are being forced to live in their cars, likely in the hundreds of thousands, not because they are dirty criminal degenerates, but because they can't afford rent and have nowhere else to go. Yes, you can argue that creating a formal pipeline to compel people to make it to community court or take advantage of other resources does, in some situations, give Sparks PD and the HOPE team more effective tools to do outreach. First of all, even though I strongly disagree with this approach, it is already in place. Living in your car in Sparks is currently a civil infraction. But the real problem here is that we are putting law enforcement on the front lines of a battle that is not theirs to fight. When they try to fight it and lose, instead of recognizing that they are in fact powerless to do anything about the housing crisis, we stubbornly insist that no, they just need bigger and better weapons, maybe some more teams with acronym names, and they'll get everyone off the streets and into brand new apartments in no time. Amending these ordinances to increase their punitive power does not make sense. What is the purpose of criminalizing survival? A family with a single mom living on their car in Victorian. I think we can safely assume that if they found themselves in that position, they're probably dealing with a heap of bills, legal issues, and other complications. Now the mom is charged with a criminal misdemeanor and is facing up to a year in jail and $1,000 in fines for keeping her family alive the only way she can. Not to mention that a conviction would then remain on her record, creating further obstacles to getting back on her feet down the road. The twisted logic behind today's proposed amendments comes from law enforcement's helplessness to solve homelessness. The reason law enforcement is exasperated in making these paradoxical appeals is that they're being asked to take on an issue that actually has nothing to do with the criminal justice system. If you are living in your car and engage in criminal activity, then yes, you are subject to the same laws as everyone else. But if you're just living, that's in all caps, in your car, because you have no place else to live, how can we possibly construe that as a criminal misdemeanor? We need rent stabilization and affordable housing. Then law enforcement can return to doing their actual job, enforcing laws, not punishing people for falling on hard times. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Nimbus Walsh Dennison, followed by Monica Rodriguez.
I'm here today to voice against Bill number 2819 being passed. It is utterly inhumane to do this to the homeless population who do not actively choose to be homeless, who are on the streets because they tend to not have family or friends to rely on, who turn to our government in need, and yet you try to pass a law as humane as this. Shelters being overcrowded, being placed back on the streets, people dying in our streets because it's so cold, struggling with mental illness and yet can't get coverage from insurance, or dying from addiction that has been caused by our own government, specifically from the time period of President Reagan actively distributing crack to the public, that has yet to take accountability for something that still affects our elder generation today. By passing this law, it does not make the homeless population go away. You are just trying to push this issue to another city. And I would like to ask you, if you do pass this law, how long do you intend to keep innocent people incarcerated for just trying to survive? How many times will you arrest them? I hope my words stick with you. If you pass this law, I hope your inhumanity keeps you up at night. By hurting our community, you are only hurting yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. Monica Rodriguez, followed by Chastity Martinez.
Hi, hello, City Council. I am here to voice my opposition to Bill 2819. I do think that it is completely inhumane to criminalize the homeless. They are one of the most vulnerable populations out there. And one of the rising groups of homeless people are actually elderly people because they don't have the means to pay for their health care. There's inflation, there's a rising cost of living. And to just like criminalize people for being on like the lowest part of like where they can be is just so wrong to me. I do agree that, okay, if they are doing something criminal out of the car, then yes, law enforcement should definitely come in place. And I understand that this is like a safety issue, especially if, you know, there's like young children around. I understand that people can feel uncomfortable when there's homeless people. But instead of criminalizing people where they have to pay a citation and possibly face jail time, putting them in the prison system, it doesn't make any sense to do that. Why not invest funds in, you know, possibly getting like a lot where the city can visualize, or not visualize, they can have like some type of like surveillance and be like, okay, like you can park your cars here. I understand the city doesn't want to have like a row of cars. I get that. But criminalizing these people, it just is so wrong. And to me, it just makes a lot more sense to have like a lot where it's like you can park your cars here if you are homeless, and the city can have like resources there where people can, you know, get skill training or drug rehabilitation and things of that nature to really combat the homeless problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Chastity Martinez, followed by Dutron.
All right, good afternoon, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Chastity Martinez. I'm a community organizer with Faith in Action Nevada, and I'm here to give a comment in opposition to Agenda Item 10.2, Bill Number 2819. Over the years, our organizations worked with faith leaders and community members to advocate for equitable housing policy at the local and state level. In 2019, we helped establish the first ever Affordable Housing Trust Fund in Washoe County. Over the past year, our leaders have organized a campaign in opposition to the proposed ordinance on illegal encampments from the Washoe County Sheriff's Office, because we know that housing and services is a solution to homelessness. And through that process, we met with some of you in this room to share our concerns around the criminalization of things like camping, sleeping in vehicles, panhandling, et cetera. And we understand that these are things that those lacking housing have no other choice but to do for their survival. And research has shown that a carrot and stick response to people living unhoused doesn't change behavior, and in fact can lead to added barriers for folks if they're constantly being displaced. We know that there was an ordinance passed in August for here in Sparks that makes it illegal to do such things, similar to what's in place in Reno and what's being proposed at the county level, and that today's bill specifies that someone in violation of sleeping in vehicles or obstructing the sidewalks would be charged with a misdemeanor, which is liable for jail time. And through conversations with law enforcement and other folks, we were told that the goal is to use these ordinances to direct people into community court. And if it's the council's aim to get those unhoused here in Sparks into more services through community court, then we believe it's imperative that this council direct funding to provide more resources, including creating Sparks' own community court. It doesn't make sense to charge someone with a misdemeanor and then expect them to go to Reno's community court. And if they can't make it, they'd be arrested anyway. And it's been determined that the cost of incarceration far outweighs the cost of housing and services. So we're asking you to please not pass this bill today, as it could lead to more incarceration of an already vulnerable population. And we encourage this council to look at your budget, talk with the county and other jurisdictions, and invest more into evidence-based, compassionate solutions and services that could really transform this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Dutron.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Councilman. My name is Hugh Trong, and I am a Sparks resident for 30 years. And I advocate for Faith in Action in voter registration and for the houseless. Now, I talked to a lot of these folks in the homeless, unhoused community. They shouldn't be criminalized for being unhoused when they just need to be helped with better resources and shelters and Sparks. Also, I know a few people who sleep in their vehicles since they lost their apartments. So it's not by choice. I'm also one of the many that will sleep in my vehicle because I'm tired and don't want to risk driving and not being safe. It's bad enough that they do not have a home or a place to go to. You know, it's on top of it, most people that don't have apartments don't have IDs. So these people, you keep them down. DMV is all the way down south, okay? There's no resources to go get help, an ID to get them out of the situation that they're in, to get a job or anything. So you guys just keep them down there for, I'm sorry. There was 135 homeless people that died last year. I invite you to the vigil we're having at the Believe sign today. If you're compassionate enough to know any of those people that I registered them to vote and everything, some of them died, some of them, didn't make it. That's because Sparks needs a shelter itself because everything's being pushed on Reno. And there's a lot of people in Sparks that have camps and everything. I urge you folks to vote no for the opposition. Thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, did you have some written correspondence?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We did receive 30 emails in opposition, and those are attached to your agenda packet under item 10.2.
Okay. I don't have any more speaking cards. Anyone in the public wishing to speak at this time? Come on down. Just your name for the record.
Grant Denton, Mayor, Council. So when it comes to criminalizing homelessness, is that wrong? Absolutely. Truly believe that. And the question comes to how do you, if I was sleeping in my car, would that be criminal? Would that be wrong? And the answer is, well, no, because I have a home, but it definitely indicates that something's wrong, right? And so when somebody's sleeping in their car, they're sleeping on the streets, that's an indicator that something's wrong, right? I do outreach 5 days a week, sometimes 6 or 7 days a week in this community, and 90% of the folks we work with want help. They want to get to the next phase and are willing to take it when it becomes available. Sometimes we don't have bed space available right then, but if they keep working with us, we can get them into a bed. Sometimes it's treatment. Sometimes it's drugs or alcohol that are people's problems. But that's not the issue that we're having. We're not having issues with families or any of that, folks that are accepting services, living in these conditions. You have issues with folks that don't want to accept services. And how do you manage that? That's the question. How do we nudge somebody into services? Now, I don't know the right way. I don't have the answer for that. It comes down to a public health versus public health help issue. Public health versus public help. And is the answer punitive or is it corrective? I've been to community service, to community court before, and we've gotten a lot of people off the streets through there. Are we gonna get everybody off the streets? I don't know. You won't get it the first time, you won't get it the second time, you won't get it the third time. But the question is this criminalizing homelessness, or are we nudging folks into the other direction, into a direction of getting off the streets? And another question is, how many times do you have to offer services and have it denied before it's a problem? That's the question, and I think that's for all of us to ask. Like, should we be offering services? Yes. Is there enough services? No. Is there enough housing? No. But how do we start nudging in that direction? If it's a public health issue, then we also have to offer help. And if that's part of the gig, if part of the ticketing process is community court, and I know because I've been there, and it does offer help and it gets us engaged with the folks, then I think that we just have to look at, is it criminalizing homelessness or is it criminalizing behavior? And from my experience, I've seen that folks from community court have got help if that's the answer. Thank you.
Thank you. And just for full disclosure, Mr. Denton is a consultant to the city of Sparks on homelessness. He himself was homeless for over 9 years in 9 different tries, was addicted to crack, and has made quite a human of himself, and continues to work with our homeless population on a daily basis. So thank you, Grant, for that. Anyone else in the public wishing to speak at this time? Okay, we'll bring it back to the dais, and let's move on to approval of the agenda. Mr. Anderson.
Yes, sir. I move to approve the agenda as submitted with the removal of item 7.2.
Mr. Dare.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Okay. Consent items. Oh, minutes, excuse me. Any additions, subtractions of the minutes? If not, I'm looking for a motion. Ms. Vanderwell.
Move to approve the minutes of the Sparks City Council for January 22nd, 2024.
Mr. Abbott. Second. Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. We're just a little bit out of sync here. All right, 7.1, Boards and Commissions Vacancy Announcement. Chief.
Thank you, Mayor. There is one vacancy on the Building Code Board of Appeals for an electrical engineer or an electrical contractor with at least 10 years of experience, 5 years being responsible charge of work. This position is for a 2-year term ending March 31st, 2026. Applications will be accepted until March 1st, 2024 at 5 p.m. Persons interested in serving on this committee should complete a community service application online at the city's website, www.cityofsparks.us/get-involved. Simply complete the volunteer application form and hit submit. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. All right, 7.3, Edward C. Reed High School Marching Band. My favorite people. They spread joy and happiness.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Ron Eichstead. I'm the band director at Reed High School. It's my 10th year of 30, so I got 2 more decades to go. If you've been by the school, the big semi and everything, that's ours. We've been very fortunate in 2020. We did the London New Year's Day Parade, which was really fun. And then this year we did the 2024 Rome New Year's Parade. And so the kids got a chance to go to Rome, Italy, not New Jersey. And they went to Pompeii. We were at the Vatican. We were at St. Peter's Basilica. We performed right in this area called Popolo Square, where the Spanish Steps are. And I don't know if I'm able to log in here to pull up a picture real quick to show you guys. But I do have, and Cindy sent me some sizes, and if they're wrong, I can get some new ones for you. What do you want to log into? Because I don't have anything from you. Oh, it's okay. Yeah, I can just go to Google and log into my thing. It's no biggie. But I have some stuff. And I have one of our students here that could just talk a little bit about their experience. This is Braden Langham. He's one of our drum majors and seniors. He's also in the Washington County Honor Band representing our area, so he's doing really well. So if Braden, if you want to come and introduce yourself, you can sit down and talk, and I'll give out the shirts.
Hello, my name is Braden Lingham. I go to Edward C. Reed High School. I'm the drum major of the marching band.
You're being prompted.
Tell me about your experience. What'd you like with the trip? What'd you do? Where'd you go? Who'd you see? What'd you?
I really loved our plane ride was a little bad because we got held up a bunch, but we really loved
our hotel was great. We had great rooms. We had great food all the time throughout it. We really loved like the Colosseums and all the places we traveled, the Colosseum, Pompeii, all the cities, and we got tours all over the place. It was really informative, all the things we've gotten. Yeah, it was a once in a lifetime experience. We really loved. We got to play in a big a church. It sounded really cool. It was. We got to see a bunch of architecture. Everything was really cool. We got to march in the Rome New Year's parade. It was tons of people. It was almost like you're in a. It almost looks like you're watching a TV and you see like New York and a bunch of people there.
Did you guys get to go to the Vatican?
Yes. Yes, we got to see the Sistine Chapel, the St. Peter's Church. Really, really grand, I'd say.
I'm prompting you while we're getting.
You're good. Yeah.
You're good. So
Nice
what
job,
was the
Rick.
most impressive thing about the Colosseum to you?
It's
'Cause I went there and I was very impressed about a lot of things, but it's a pretty neat place.
I would like the most about it is underneath it. There's this like barracks kind of thing where the
Catacombs?
No, under the Colosseum. There's the people would get they get hoisted up to the arena and it almost I'm pretty sure the term was like magic because they appear through like the sand and it'd be like trapdoors and they just like appear, and I think that was the most interesting part about the Colosseum.
That was quite an engineering feat for that
Yeah,
time in
like
the world.
2,000 years ago. It was
Yes.
pretty interesting. 6 years. I started in 6th grade. I've primarily a clarinet player, but I've broadened my horizon with different instruments.
So are you a senior, so you're going off to college? Or
Yes.
Where are you going to go to school, and what are you going to do with all this fun?
I plan on going to UNR. I plan on joining their marching band, but I'm primarily gonna plan to do engineering major.
Very cool.
All right. Thanks for stalling for me, bud.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. Okay, so I was going to show just one short little thing because I know you guys have a bunch of stuff to do. Don't worry, I have nothing on here. That's no vacation photos or anything. Okay, so there's a couple things. So like Braden was saying, we got a chance to perform in a 16th century church, which was really cool. It's like the equivalent of like Notre Dame. We performed in this town called Frascati, which would be like Truckee, but in Italy kind of thing if you're going up. And that was really, really cool in this big festival. And then this is them. We're at the parade. This is just a drum line playing. This is one side. I don't know if there's any audio.
This is the marching band stage performance in Europe, having
So all
performed
the streets are like
London for the
about
New Year's Day parade.
after this area, there's no guardrails. People are like up in their
16 and
business.
20.
These big kiddos just marching by.
Arriva la Edward C. Reed High School Rider Band. Loro arrivano dal Nevada, esattamente da Sparks, lo stato del Nevada. Si trova a 45 minuti dal lago
We're going to
Tahoe.
the performance zone where we stood in front of these staircases and performed for a bunch of people. And I will show you a picture. That's us. That's the beginning of the parade where we line up. So our banner got donated by the Nugget, another Sparks organization. It says Sparks Nevada on there. That's our guy Giacomo. He's from Milan, and the kids got a chance to hang out with him. And that is the picture that I am getting made to give you guys to put in City Hall if you'd like. In the background, that's the Spanish Steps. So there's thousands of people. So that video, when you saw them marching over on their left-hand side, that was what they saw there. And then this is us turning the corner. And after that, it was pretty small corridor. So it was a really cool event. In the marching band and our performing arts, Reed High School is one of the largest performing arts in northern Nevada, which is really, really cool. We've been very fortunate with our band, orchestra, and choir that we're one of the largest and most successful programs, which is cool. We were only able to take about 40 kiddos of our 100-person ensemble. We hope to encourage more in the future, but cost is always like a deterrent for that. But I just want to say thank you so much for supporting us and supporting the local groups, and thank you for supporting the community events from football to to Pee Wee baseball to band and everything. And so feel free to give those shirts away or jackets away or put them in your office. And we hope to be seeing you next time when we go to Madrid, which will be in 2027. So thank you so much for your time.
I got just one question. How many thousands of people recognized where Sparks, Nevada was?
Lots of people would ask questions like, oh, you're close to Vegas? And you're like, no, we're not. Hey, but they at least know where we are somewhere on the map, which is really, really cool.
We get that from the East Coast, so.
But thank you so much. We really appreciate
Oh,
all
you
your
guys-
support and everything you do.
You guys do a great job, and it's a great program, and they say if you play a musical instrument, that your chances of being successful is greatly enhanced, so congratulations.
Right now, the statistic is if you do 4 years in music, you have a 94% chance of graduating high school.
There you go.
And so we try to keep them involved in all classes. We're very fortunate at Reed, and Sparks has a great program, and so does Spanish Springs. And so we are the stronger of the cities as far as the programs that are offered. Thank you so much for your
Thank
time. Have
you.
a wonderful day.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sure. Where would you like me to? Right there? Come on, guys. We'll hide the box. You want to come on up, or you want to hang the shirts up, or?
They could come
Hold
over
them
with
up.
us.
Come up behind us, how about that?
I promise I took a shower. It's like going behind Disneyland.
I hold the jacket when I Reed High School.
I know.
He's from
Sparks. No, I
West
know.
Reed
I
High
know.
School. West Reed High School.
Do we need to move in, you guys? This one first.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And I love Italy.
Oh,
Yeah, I love, my favorite is Matera, which is the village hall that you see, it has all the walking paths, and it's all pastel on the cliffs. And then Milan, Lake Como, is my shore, and then Rome is fantastic.
It was awesome. Pompeii was amazing.
I have not been there, but let me know how I go. Thank you, guys. We didn't ask your favorite food.
Okay, let's move on to item 7.4, presentation by the University of Nevada, Reno Veteran Alumni Chapter and an annual Student Veterans American Conference. It's easier to hear you if you're sitting. Then you could turn that other mic on so we can hear you, and away we go. Just give us your name for the record.
Good afternoon. My name's John Pratt. I'm here today to thank you for your generous and impactful gift of $3,000 that allowed our chapter to send myself and a current UNR student to the Student Veterans of America National Conference in Nashville, Tennessee. I am a Marine who served from 1986 to 1990. For the last 6 years, I've proudly worked at the Veterans. I worked as a Veterans Service Coordinator at UNR. I oversee the Veteran and Military Center there. It's been referred to either as a USO on campus, or I like to call it our barracks. I'm also the co-chair of the Veteran Support Team, which consists of UNR staff and faculty that serves for our country. We work to strengthen the veteran culture on campus. I also advise the Undergraduate Student Veteran Club, the Wolfpack Vets, and the reason why I'm here today is I'm the president of the Veterans Alumni Chapter. I'd like Josh to introduce himself.
Yes, thank you, John. Ladies and gentlemen of the Sparks City Council, I begin by expressing my profound gratitude to you for your generous support extended by the City of Sparks Council and funding of the entirety of the Student Veterans of America National Conference. My name is Joshua Abbott, serving as the club treasurer for UNR's Wolfpack Veterans Club. I previously worked with John Pratt at UNR's Veteran Military Center. Currently, I'm a senior pursuing a double major in business marketing and management, along with double minors in supply chain management and business analytics. My educational journey has taken me through various community colleges, including those in Reading, Louisiana, Oregon, and TMCC. As I approach the climax of my undergrad academic endeavor, I'm slated to graduate this year and become a member of the UNR Veterans Alumni Chapter. Reflecting on my military background, I dedicated 4 years active duty in the Air Force, serving as a B-52 crew chief stationed in the southern region. Following my active duty service, I transitioned into the Air Force Reserve, where I work as an aircraft machinist and I serve part-time as a funeral honor guardsman. Currently, I'm in my 7th year in the Reserve, contributing to a cumulative 13 years service in the Air Force. Looking ahead, my overarching goal is to commission as a lieutenant upon graduation, advancing my military career. And for this, I give it to John to speak more about the SVA and his alumni chapter.
Okay. The Student Veterans of America National Conference is the largest gathering of student veterans anywhere in the world. This year, the conference had over 2,200 attendees and 104 breakout sessions. The conference had corporate, along with government and nonprofit partners. They're promoting their companies and also hiring for them. The SVA has a network of over 1,600 on-campus chapters, representing over 754,000 student veterans. So as you can see, it was really important and a great privilege for us to go. A little bit about our chapter. Our highlights from last year was maintaining our membership of over 60 members. We were named University of Nevada's Alumni Association's Outstanding Chapter of the Year. We started an endowment scholarship by raising $30,000. And lastly, we're really proud of our active event calendar, which consists of over 30 events, meetings, and socials. The reason why we went to the conference outside of the networking opportunities was our chapter presented on best practices about our alumni chapter. The session we led was entitled Veteran Alumni Organization, Building on the Successes of SVA Chapters to Have Lasting Impacts on and Off Campus. We offered our roadmap of success, focusing on realistic and tangible examples and sharing our own experiences. We were fortunate enough to have 44 people there. Just to give you an idea of what we talked about was we walked them through identifying your why, have a clear and identifiable vision, define what success looks like, especially when you're first starting, and plan for a specific time frame. So Josh is going to talk about his experience.
So I want to highlight the significant impact your funding has had on my educational pursuits and financial stability. Without your support, attending this trip and exploring the numerous networking and campus engagement opportunities offered by the Student Veterans of America would have been impossible for me. Engaging with graduates from diverse campuses beyond Nevada has offered invaluable insights into the transitional challenges they may face post-graduation. Establishing connections with individuals from various universities has allowed me to gather information on enhancing my personal well-being and improving the veteran clubs I represent. Your backing has opened doors for me to build meaningful relationships and gather essential knowledge to benefit both my personal growth and the veteran community. The SVA National Conference proved to be a rich source of knowledge through its diverse array of seminars tailored to educate veterans on crucial topics. These sessions covered essential topics like navigating VA clinic benefits during debt management, the intricacies of applying for disability, and accessing VA healthcare. The conference has also featured companies and accomplished veterans who shared their experiences, guiding students on entrepreneurship and effective self-marketing. For many attending veterans, this event served as a valuable learning experience, offering insights on how to easily transition back into the civilian workforce. It addresses the financial stressors associated with higher costs of living in certain cities, providing guidance for veterans unsure of where to find supportive communities outside of their hometown. Personally, and on behalf of fellow veterans, I can attest that the conference has provided valuable insight, equipping us with knowledge needed to navigate the post-graduation landscape successfully. Armed with the knowledge acquired from the SVA National Conference, I am eager to channel my experience into mentoring current members of the Wolfpack Veterans and offer valuable insights to my soon-to-be Veterans Alumni Chapter. While currently serving as the treasurer of the Wolfpack Veterans Club, I extend heartfelt gratitude to the Veterans Alumni Chapter and John Pratt for their exceptional efforts in collaborating with the City Council to secure my sponsorship. The Veterans Alumni Chapter stands as our esteemed counterpart, serving as the true backbone of veteran involvement and engagement. As emphasized earlier, many veterans grapple with a sense of purpose and meaning post-military separation, and the sentiment can resurface after completing college. By expanding opportunities to sponsor more students for the SVA National Conference, this aim would make the transition for veterans an enjoyable and fulfilling experience. I look forward to contributing to the mentorship and support network within our veteran community, fostering a sense of camaraderie and purpose for all. Members of the City Council, as we stand at the intersection of community, education, and support for our student veterans, as student and representative of the Veterans Alumni, I would like to thank you one last time for your generosity and support. I humbly request your consideration and continued support of the Veterans Alumni Chapter as they work to strengthen the veterans community locally. The chapter provides vital opportunities to forge stronger bonds, empower our students, and honor our esteemed veterans. And I thank you so much for your time. Are there any questions?
Question from the council? Mr. Dare?
Yeah, I want to thank you for the work you do. I know for firsthand is that the mental health that you get to walk with people relationally and how you handle that is fantastic. And I just think it's awesome the work you do, and honored to get to stand with you guys, and thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir.
I have a card I'd love to give you. I'd love to have coffee sometime if we don't mind.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Anderson?
Likewise, just want to say thank you for your service, and thanks for working with the veterans that are working their way through. You mentioned the transition. You're making a transition from the military to your private life, and then you've got your education, and then you're transitioning onto a career. So the fact that you guys are there standing alongside of each other, helping each other through that is awesome. So I just want to encourage you to keep up the fight, and great job. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mayor.
Appreciate it.
City Council, thank you.
Okay, 7.5, Nevada Housing Coalition.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Mayor Lawson, all the honorable members of the Sparks City Council. My name is Maurice Page, and I'm the new Executive Director for the Nevada Housing Coalition. Today, I am definitely honored to stand before you to address a matter of importance to the city of Sparks, and that is affordable housing. In recent years, the city of Sparks has taken proactive steps to tackle the affordability issue in the community, recognizing that challenges faced by many of our Sparks residents. One notable development in this endeavor is the Rail Yard Flats project, spearheaded by the Reno Housing Authority. This 15-unit affordable housing complex groundbreaking, which I had the pleasure to attend, occurred on January 17th, marks a significant milestone in our efforts to provide affordable housing solutions or options for low-income residents of Sparks. The Rail Yard Flats project exemplifies the community's commitment to addressing the needs of community members who are rent burdened and struggling to find affordable housing options. So, in pursuit of addressing affordability, Nevada has a trusted partner in the Nevada Housing Coalition. Our work is dedicated to focus on addressing the affordable housing needs of all Nevadans. We are a 501c3 statewide member-based nonprofit organization, and we work to create sustainable housing solutions through community awareness, capacity building, and advocacy to ensure housing options for all Nevadans. The screen that you see is our three major pillars: advocacy, collaboration, and education. You can see that, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but from a state level, we participate in the legislative session. We're at the forefront of the Home Means Nevada Initiative's recommendations. From a federal level, we have working groups. From our collaboration, we, again, partner with multiple organizations, from the housing authorities to developers to our state leaders. And from an education perspective, we have monthly lunch and learns, our annual Nevada Housing Conference, which we just had, our largest one in Southern Nevada, and we will be bringing it back here to Northern Nevada at the Nugget in October. Looking forward to each of you attending. When we talk about Elevate Nevada, which is one of our teaching platforms, we do regional learning collaboratives. We do supportive and affordable housing development, where we teach up-and-coming developers about financing and affordable housing. We all know that this is not something that you can just go to school and learn. And so we have been fortunate to have funding come in from San Francisco Federal Home Loan Bank, as well as JP Morgan Chase, to be able to sustain our programs and develop the next wave of not only general contractors, but the next wave of affordable housing developers. Now, earlier I talked a little bit about our 2023 Nevada legislative session. And during that time frame, we focused on policies to address the state's housing supply shortage and improve access to existing housing. Our efforts included organizing Affordable Housing Day at the Legislative on May 1st, which gathered over 70 housing stakeholders for tours, meetings, and senators and assembly members, and discussions on housing, which led to discussions on housing policies. The legislation session saw significant progress in addressing Nevada's housing affordability crisis. The Nevada legislature and Governor Lombardo worked together to pass comprehensive housing policies. More than 50 bills related to housing were introduced, highlighting the urgency of the affordable housing issue in Nevada, which suffers from one of the nation's largest deficits in affordable homes for those with the lowest incomes. Key bills that passed, which you will see up here on the screen, are AB 62, which modernized property tax exemptions for affordable housing, AB 448, which closed the loophole in real property transfer tax benefiting affordable housing development, AB 213, which aimed at speeding up the housing development process, and AB 310, which will focus on supportive housing development. Overall, the 2023 legislative session in Nevada saw a mixture of progress and a little contention. However, we did make significant strides in housing affordability. So we talk about why are we having so many issues? Well, here in the state, and I want to just point to the main number of the 83,994. That is how many homes we are short for affordability here in the state of Nevada. Now, what I can say is that we are making progress. That number was taken roughly about 3 years ago. And over that time frame, we have definitely brought in close to 4,000 new affordable homes in our communities throughout the whole state. So we are moving in the right direction. However, we have further to go. Again, just as definition and just to educate for those who are not aware, affordable housing is defined by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development as housing for which the occupants are paying no more than 30% of his or her income for gross housing costs. Nevada defines affordable housing in 3 tiers. Tier 1 is 0 to 60 area median income, Tier 2, 60 to 80 of area median income, and Tier 3, 80 to 120% of the area median income. So households experiencing a severe rent burden may correlate to Nevada's affordable housing supply. In Washoe County, for example, there are 9,130 households that are severely rent burdened or that's falling into the category of having extremely low income, which means they are earning below 30% of HUD's area median family income. And on this graph, you will notice that throughout Nevada, as of 2022, there were only 1,118 units for households whose incomes fall between 30 to 35% AMI statewide. next to the 8,633 units for households whose income falls between 40 and 50% AMI. These figures reflect a major shortage in our affordable housing supply. Again, with rising rent and housing costs, the rental market has seen a significant increase despite incomes not rising at a similar pace. In Nevada, a household needs to make upwards of $42,000 a year to afford a studio and not be rent burdened. A comparison chart reflects the wages of industries such as fast food, retail, and customer service workers whose annual incomes fall below the affordability of a studio in Nevada. Housing affordability is an issue that is impacting residents in Sparks, Washoe County, and all Nevadans throughout the state. Again, the challenges we face extend beyond individual projects, though. According to HUD data, a staggering 186,115 households in Washoe County are considered cost burden, spending more than 30% of their income on housing. Among them, again, 9,130 households who are severely rent burdened fall into the category of extremely low income, earning below 30% of HUD's area median income. 4,235 households are very low income, earning between 30 and 50, and 1,385 households are low income earners between 50 and 80%. These figures underscore the urgency of efforts to bridge the affordable housing gap and provide affordable housing options where we have the greatest deficit. So with all of that being said, I would like to just say, because again, I can give you a whole bunch of numbers and we can go through all of the data, but I would love to, this is my first time sitting in front of you, and I would love to be able to have more dialogue and more conversations about this. But with that being said, you can also stay in touch with us by becoming a coalition member, attend our annual Nevada Housing Conference, visit our website, sign up to receive our newsletter. We have a YouTube channel, and you can also follow us on social media. I am pleased to say that we are growing, we're continually growing. We've had 10% growth over last year after we went through a transition year. And so we are looking to continue to grow our membership and be able to support the needs of all Nevadans. Thank you, and I'll take any questions or comments.
Questions from the council? Ms. Vanderwell?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I'd like to say thank you, Marcus, and welcome.
Maurice.
Maurice, I apologize.
It's all right.
I have been a member of the Nevada Housing Coalition, and I support what the coalition does. And I did attend the conference in Las Vegas last year, which was a phenomenal conference. So I would encourage all of my fellow council members to attend when they're up here at the Nugget in October. We learn a lot, and I think as policymakers, we need to understand the need for affordable housing in these different areas. So I do want to thank you, and I want to thank you for all the hard work of you and your staff. You guys are small but mighty, and so I greatly appreciate all you do.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Dare?
Yeah, it's good to see you again, sir.
Yes,
And I remember seeing you at that ribbon cutting or groundbreaking we were at.
absolutely.
You mentioned that one number was three years ago, and we've grown 4,000, but we're also continue to grow in need.
Yes.
It would just be great if you, at some time, if you can get us some numbers, continue to feed us information. I mean, it just helps us be aware. We do our best we can. There's a lot of factors that go into this, and we want to be a support to you. So please let us know the date of when that's going on when we get closer. But also, if there's other things that you have going on that you think we should just know, we're interested.
Absolutely. So just to piggyback on that, what we are doing, we've actually hired a contractor to help us out with doing a needs assessment throughout the state. So that this way we can get, again, more current numbers. We are in 2024. We are making some strides. And so we want to be able to reflect that and show those numbers. We don't want to just put out there the negativity of needing affordable housing, but we want to show how much that we are putting in the effort to get people housed and get them, back into society and being able to contribute to our economy. And then the follow-up, just other future activities. We are having a town hall here in Northern Nevada next month, March 13th, at UNR. You are more than welcome to attend. It's really member-based, but again, you are friends of the coalition, so you're more than welcome to attend and hear about some of the other issues that's going on in the community and hear from, our members and see what we can do. We're also going to be using that information to use as a baseline for our policies. So when we start getting into the lab and constructing policies that we would like to see affected here in the state of Nevada, we will be using that feedback.
Thank you so much. Thanks for coming.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Anderson.
Thank you for the information. That's great. I'll have to check it out and see if I can join you for some of these.
Absolutely.
I did have a question. You were talking about collaboration. Do you guys work with Habitat for Humanity and their projects? Because I know if I understand correctly, they're like working on a project of building 30 homes out in the north end of Stead there.
Yes, they are a close friend of ours. They are a member, and so we are working with their team and helping them out where we can.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, when I heard about that, that was pretty amazing that they're that big of a scale on what they're
Yes,
looking
they are
to do.
definitely making their imprint.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Ms. Bybee.
Thank you so much for coming today. Obviously, housing, affordable housing, one of the biggest issues, all of us, homelessness, housing, workforce.
Yes.
And we find those nationwide. I'm getting ready with Councilman Dare to head back to National League of Cities in a few weeks. And every year we go back. It's the same, doesn't matter, small town to the biggest cities, the problems are the same. So really trying to learn from each other, to find some things we can replicate here, ideas that we can share is always just really, really helpful. And I did notice on your slides, you had a lunch and learn. Is that a monthly?
Yes, that is
or is that just set for a specific date,
It is
or
the
all of it
last
would be on your
Wednesday.
website?
No, it's the last Wednesday of each month. It happens from 12 to 12:45, where we have specialized topics on affordable housing. So we'll talk anything from LIHTC, low-income housing, tax credits, to development. We'll give updates on what is going on in the rural area, tribal, so forth and so on. So please tune in every Wednesday, and you can just log in, and once you become a member, you get an access code, so I'm always gonna pump that, right? And then you can log in and register and be a participant.
Okay, so that's on Zoom.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is on Zoom.
I'm
I'm
like,
sorry. Yes,
where?
I'm sorry. My apologies.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Good.
And
Anyone
then
else?
also, we are, when you talk about visiting and traveling to other cities, we're actually doing the same thing. We're looking at other communities and what they're using as policies to get more affordable housing. And so we're definitely looking at the success stories from around the country to hopefully bring them here as well.
Mr. Abbott.
Yeah, I know you mentioned the meeting would be, I think, in October at the Nugget.
Yes, the National Housing,
National.
our National Housing Conference will be in October 14th, 15th? 16th and 17th
That's what I was
at
going
the
for.
Nugget.
Awesome. And then to sign up for the newsletter, I'm assuming you just go to the website on the
Yes.
homepage or somewhere. Easy. Cool. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, anyone else? Thank you, Maurice, for coming by.
Thank you. I appreciate everything.
Appreciate it. Appreciate the information.
Absolutely.
All right, let's move on to 7.6, Sparks Fire Department Citizen Service Medal to Justin Dormady, whereas actions in Sparks Fire Incident 23-00134447. Chief White.
Mayor Lawson, members of council, Walt White, Fire Chief, City of Sparks. It is my distinct honor and privilege today to recognize Justin Dormady for his quick, decisive, and selfless actions at the scene of an emergency. And here today to help me do that are Battalion Chiefs Gayton and Captain Caldwell. So if you want to both come on down as well. Before I turn it over to them to describe the actions that Mr. Dormady took, and he's in the back of the room here today, and we'll bring him down as well. I just want to say that, it's been said that courage is not the absence of fear, but the belief in something more important. And, on this day, Mr. Dormady definitely placed that need ahead of his own personal safety with the actions he took. And, I'm extremely grateful, and we're honored to be able to recognize him today. And I'll turn it over to Chief Gayton and Captain Caldwell to explain his actions.
See if I can get this right.
close. Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, City Council members. For the record, Tyler Gayton, Battalion Chief, and Captain Matt Caldwell. I'm going to go ahead and just read the agenda items so that way everybody kind of gets an idea of the actions that Mr. Dormady took. On November 13th, 2023 at 4:16 p.m., Sparks Dispatch received a call that a tanker vehicle had caught fire on I-80 near the westbound Pyramid on-ramp. Prior to the arrival of fire crews, Justin Dormady spotted the incident while he was working on Victorian Avenue just adjacent to the incident. So just for clarification, he works for Titan Electrical, and he was actually working on the plaza there in front of the Nugget Event Center. He ran up the embankment to evaluate the scene and found the driver of an SUV unable to escape due to the vehicle being sandwiched between the Jersey wall and a gasoline tanker containing roughly 9,000 gallons of gasoline that was being threatened by fire. So I don't know if you guys can see in the picture here, but there's actually a vehicle right there. Mr. Dormady helped the driver exit the SUV through a window. By the time Sparks Fire Department arrived, fire was already consuming the SUV and beginning to breach the tanker car containing the gasoline. Typically, these incidents make national news because once a tank has been breached, it's very difficult to stop the fire. Sparks Fire Department was only alerted to Mr. Dormady's actions when he approached a fire captain, Captain Caldwell, after the incident had stabilized and asked if he could retrieve a screwdriver that he dropped next to the vehicle when he was assisting the driver. With the complexity of having a victim trapped and unable to escape via doors, the actions of Mr. Dormady certainly had an impact on the successful operation and may have saved the life of the driver of the vehicle. As a result of this incident, Mr. Dormady's actions were written up by the engine company captain, Matt Caldwell, with a recommendation for a Citizen Service Medal. Sparks Fire Department's internal commendation review committee reviewed the submission and conferred with the award. So on behalf of Chief White and the Sparks Fire Department, we would like to present Mr. Dormady with the Sparks Fire Department's Citizen Service Medal for his actions in Sparks Fire Incident 23-00-13447.
This is, real quick, we're going to take a picture with Mr. Dormady, but, you know, this is another example of his humility. He didn't want to be recognized. He just wanted his screwdriver back and possibly a Sparks Fire hat. So we thought we could do a little bit better than that. But, you know, I really do personally want to thank him because I do believe that he absolutely saved a life on that day. And that's something that we can all be proud of. So thanks.
She wants us in the background. She wants us back here. We done. Further embarrassing.
All right, let's move on to consent items. Anyone wishing to pull a consent item? If not, I'm looking for a motion. Ms. Vanderwell.
I move to approve consent items 8.1 and 8.2 as submitted.
Mr. Rabbit.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. All right, general business. Consideration, discussion, and possible approval to purchase one Type 1 pumper from Graham Fire Apparatus Rosenbauer, utilizing the joinder bid from HGAC, a purchasing consortium contract number FS12-19 in the amount of $1,047,424.
Hello, Mayor, members of the council, Captain Matt Scott with the Fire Department. I'm here today to propose approval of a new Rosenbauer Type 1 fire engine. This will be the last purchase of our existing apparatus replacement program that we started many years ago. And we'd be adding this pumper to an existing order that the council approved back in November of '23, basically piggybacking one more on there. And by doing this, this would allow us to retire our old apparatus that's at the end of its service life. It's almost 20 years old. The garage has a difficult time maintaining this. And it would also help us have more of a uniform fleet. It'd be the last engine to make the whole city match. And we kind of feel like this increases the safety of the fire department personnel as well, having everything be the same. So with that said, we realize this is a very expensive purchase, and the department appreciates your consideration for the purchase.
Okay, any questions from the council? I just want to say that when I first got on the council, we used to lease all of our fire trucks, and I think our lease payments were $1.5 million to $2 million a year. So paying cash for something like this saves us a tremendous amount of money. Even though it is $1 million, that money we've been saving over all these years allows us to pay cash for these things. So more than happy to support a new engine.
Yeah, and then that being the last one is kind of nice too. After we started our first one in 2012, this will be the last one to replace all the old stuff, so we'll be all caught up.
That's awesome. Good. All right. Any questions? If not, I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Dare.
I move to approve the purchase of one pumper?
One Type 1.
Okay. I move to approve the purchase of one Type 1 pumper for Graham Fire Apparatus Rosenbauer, utilizing the joint or bid from HGAC Purchasing Consortium contract, hashtag FS12-19, in the amount of $1,047,424.00.
0 cents. Mr. Abbott.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you guys very much for your
You
time.
bet. Thank you. 9.2, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of a settlement agreement and mutual release of all claims AC 6024 between the City of Sparks and the International Association of Firefighters Local 731 regarding retiree health insurance benefits. Chief.
Good afternoon, Mayor Lawson, members of council. For the record, I'm Chris Croftworth, your acting city manager. They tricked me up here. Darren Jackson is next to me, and Tom Dunn's behind me representing IAFF Local 731. Before you today is a settlement agreement between the City of Sparks and Local 731. As you may recall, in 2023, staff identified incorrect funding of dependents for 6 retired Sparks firefighters. The collective bargaining agreement with IAFF Local 731 states the city will pay 60% of the monthly insurance premium for a retired firefighter and spouse until the retired firefighter reaches Medicare age. However, the city had been paying for children of 6 retired firefighters, which is in conflict with the CBA. On June 30th of 2023, the city notified the 6 retirees that payments made by the city for their children would cease effective October 1st, 2023. Local 731 filed a grievance regarding the issue, alleging the exit paperwork at the time of retirement added such benefit for children. After becoming your acting city manager, I met with Local 731 to hear the grievance as part of the grievance procedures. They provided me the exit documentation, which was ambiguous and allowed the firefighter to choose benefits for themselves or themselves and dependents. It did not clearly state spouse. The exit paperwork has been corrected. This benefit has also been paid for a matter of years without identification by our staff. This brings us to the settlement agreement contained herein. In summary, the city will return to paying 60% of insurance premiums for children of the 6 impacted retired firefighters, so long as the children were on the city's health plan as of September 30th of 2023. The city will not pay for a dependent who is not on the plan as of September 30th, 2023. The city will reimburse the 6 impacted individuals for additional payments they made to the city's plan or an alternative plan since being removed on October 1st of 23. The city will create a special enrollment period for the 6 families for any children who left the plan to return to the city's plan. Local 731 agrees to this benefit is only impacting the 6 individuals identified, and all future retirees fall under the CBA agreement. And I will turn it over to Mr. Jackson if he chooses.
I'd just like to say,
Give us your name first, Darren, and turn your mic on, please. Gotta push it, there you go.
there we go. Darren Jackson, 731 VP for the record. I'd like to thank you guys for considering this. I'd like to thank Manager Crawford for coming to the table and talking to us about this. The new atmosphere is fantastic.
Thank you. Okay, any questions from the council? Okay, well, Mr. Anderson.
Actually, I just want to say thank you for not only our city team working on this, but I want to say thanks to Local 731 for bringing it to our attention, as well as willing to work with us on this. This is a big thing, I think, to be able to overcome some of these issues that we've had in the past. And I want to say thank you very much for working with us.
Absolutely.
Okay, anyone else? Okay. I thank you guys also. It's amazing what we can do when we work together, so that's a good thing. All right, with that, then I'm looking for a motion. Ms. Vanderwell.
I move to approve the settlement agreement and mutual release of all claims AC-6024 between the City of Sparks and International Association of Firefighters Local 731 regarding retiree health insurance benefits.
Mr. Anderson.
I'll second the motion.
I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. All right. 9.3, consideration discussion of possible approval of a settlement agreement AC 6025 related to Lawson versus City of Sparks et al. CV 23-00458 in the amount of $381,000.
Good afternoon. John Funk at the Gunderson Law Firm. Mayor Lawson, members of the council. I was retained to represent the city with respect to a lawsuit filed by Mark Lawson. I came before you in January discussing a settlement option. At that point, since then, we have participated in a court-mandated mediation process overseen by the Nevada Supreme Court. That occurred on January 30th. As a result of the folks present at that time, we reached resolution to be presented to this body. Because of the city's insurance limits, which the council is aware of, there was a $300,000 self-insured retention, which functions similar to deductible, meaning this body and the City of Sparks is on the hook for the first $300,000 of the lawsuit involving Mr. Lawson. As a result of that and the contract that you all have with Travelers, there was a settlement that was supported by Travelers Insurance Company and is now being presented to this board. The amount of that settlement is $381,000. There's a settlement agreement that has already been negotiated and approved by the other parties, as attached to the agenda packet for y'all to look at and to vote on. And I ask for you guys to vote on that. I'm happy to answer any questions or make any clarifications that you wish. Thank you.
Questions from the council? Seating. Okay, well, I'm looking for a motion then. Mr. Anderson.
I move to approve settlement agreement AC 6025 related to Lawson versus City of Sparks et al. CV 23-00458 in the amount of $381,000.
Second.
Mr. Rabbit.
I second.
Any further discussion? See none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Hopefully, we won't have to see you anymore.
Great, thank you.
All right, moving on to 10.1, public hearing, consideration possible approval of an agreement AC 6023 between the City of Sparks and the Sparks Police Protective Association for the period of July 1, 2023 through June 30th, 2025, with an estimated cost to the city of $952,806 in fiscal year '24, $651,277 in fiscal year '25. Allison.
Good afternoon, Mayor Lawson and City Council members. For the record, I'm Allison McCormick, your Assistant City Manager. I am seeking your approval today of a successor collective bargaining agreement, or CBA, with the Sparks Police Protective Association, or SPPA, which represents our police officers. The current CBA expired on June 30th of 2023, but the parties did not reach agreement regarding a new CBA until recently. If approved, this CBA would be effective retroactive to July 1 of 2023 through June 30th of 2025, or fiscal years 24 and 25. The parties' negotiating teams reached tentative agreement on the following key terms. Section 1, Article J, would be amended to allow employees to contribute leave to a bank for SPPA-related business so that union leadership can participate in union activities without being limited to only using their own leave, while also making this effectively cost-neutral for the city by avoiding any direct cost increases to the city. Section 2, Article A, regarding pay rates, has been amended to provide for a base pay increase of 6% for fiscal year 24. 1.5% of that is in lieu of a standalone uniform allowance, which would be removed from the CBA, and the remaining 4.5% of that being a cost of living adjustment. Taking account of those savings from the uniform allowance going away, the net cost increase of that change is $749,000 and sorry, let me start that number over. $749,548 in fiscal year 2024. The CBA also provides for a base pay increase in fiscal year 25 of between 2.5% and 5.5% based on a consumer price index, or CPI. The specific CPI referenced in the agreement turned out to be 3.5%, so that will be the cost of living adjustment for fiscal 25. That will increase the city's costs by approximately $555,998 in that fiscal year. Section 2, Article D, has also been revised to increase education pay from 1.5% of base pay to 2% for those with an intermediate post-certificate or 30 or more college credits, and from 3% to 3.5% for an advanced post-certificate or an associate's degree. Those changes are expected to increase costs by $17,358 in fiscal year 24 and $17,965 in fiscal year 25. Section 2, Article E, has also been revised regarding special assignment pay. That would increase special assignment pay for some special assignments from $100 to $150 per pay period, and would increase the special assignment pay for field training officers from $200 to $300 per pay period. Those changes are expected to increase the city's cost by $185,900 in fiscal year 24. Section 3, Article B, regarding post-retirement health insurance, has also been revised to provide a stipend for the purpose of paying for post-retirement health insurance benefits for certain retirees from the police department. Council approved a similar benefit for sergeants and lieutenants of November of 2023. This annual stipend for employees would apply to those with 15 or more years of city service who are eligible for PERS. So essentially, the city has to be their last public employer in the state of Nevada. The stipend amounts vary depending on years of service with the city. For those with 20 or more years of service, it would be a 70% of the annual premium rate for the retiree plus spouse until Medicare age, and then 40% for the retiree only after Medicare age. For those with 15 years of service but not yet 20, those retirees would qualify for a 60% of the annual premium stipend for a retiree only until they hit Medicare age, and then the stipend would cease once those retirees hit Medicare age. These cost increases are certain, but the amounts of them are not. They can't really be reasonably estimated given the variables involved, like how many employees retire in any given year and their ages when they retire. Section 4, regarding leave benefits, has also been revised to change options regarding cashing out annual leave. There are no direct costs associated with that change. And also allocating 80 hours of annual leave and 80 hours of sick leave to lateral police officers who come to the city with 5 or more years of law enforcement experience, making it easier for people to join our organization from elsewhere in the state or the country. Last but not least, the agreement would increase the military leave allowance from 15 days to 30 days. That is expected to increase the city's cost by $77,314 in fiscal year 2025. I would like to thank the HR and finance teams that helped us get to this point from the city's side. I would also like to thank SPPA's negotiating team and their membership for continuing to work with us long after they could have stopped working with us. So I'm pleased to bring this agreement to you for approval. This does require a public hearing, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Let's go to public hearing first. Anyone in the public wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the dais. You're at the next one, Elvira. Okay, questions from the council? No questions from the council, then I'm looking for a motion. Waiting for a motion. Are we locked up? Mr. Abbott.
I move to approve the agreement AC-6023 between the City of Sparks and the Sparks Police Protective Association for the period July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2025, with an estimated cost to the city of $952,806 in FY24 and $651,277 in FY25.
Ms. Vanderwell.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Allison. Madam Clerk, 10.2, this is a second reading.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the second reading of Bill number 2819, an ordinance amending Sparks Municipal Code, Section 10.48.030, parking of oversized vehicles, Section 10.48.250, human habitation of vehicles on public property, and Section 10.48.260, obstructive uses of public sidewalks, right-of-way, and public streets are prohibited, which are to become effective upon passage by the Sparks City Council.
Ready to proceed?
Going to lead off.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor Lawson, members of council. My name is Mariah Northington. I'm a senior assistant city attorney here for the city of Sparks. Present with me is the chief of police and acting city manager, Chris Crawforth. We are here today to provide some amendments via bill number 2819. In August of 2023, so about 6 months ago, City Council enacted several criminal sections pursuant to Bill 2812 to the Sparks Municipal Code, specifically to Titles 9 and 10. There were a batch of codes enacted at that time, and within those batches of codes are these 3 codes we're here in front of you today to provide an amendment there too. The purpose of the various codes that were enacted in August of 2023 was to provide the Sparks Police Department's HOPE team with additional tools to use in effectuating their mission. And their mission consists of balancing the offering of services and resources to citizens who are experiencing homelessness with the maintaining public safety and public order and public health. In order to do that, these criminal offenses provide the HOPE team with some options to utilize after they've had multiple, and in some cases, dozens of contacts with certain individuals who are refusing services. The intent in August of 2023, when we passed all of these ordinances, was that they would be criminal in nature. As we sit here today, they are all, in fact, criminal misdemeanors in the city of Sparks. The legislative history would establish that. However, when they went into effect, there was some confusion expressed as to whether or not these were civil infractions or whether these were criminal misdemeanors, only as to these 3 that are on for today. The reason for the confusion is because the traffic laws in Nevada changed. They previously were criminal in the state of Nevada. Anything from a parking ticket to a reckless driving was criminal in the state of Nevada. That recently changed, where almost all of traffic infractions in the state of Nevada are civil infractions. Because of that, Title 10 got murky, and it's confusing as to what in Title 10 is a civil infraction and what is a criminal misdemeanor. The amendments provided to you today are simply to provide clarity to already existing law. There is no substantial changes provided to Sparks Municipal Code with today's amendments. Rather, we are providing clarity to the public and to our law enforcement officers that these are in fact criminal misdemeanors. A misdemeanor is punishable by up to 6 months in jail and up to a $1,000 fine. However, it provides a tool for the HOPE team to do many other things as well. So when they are effectuating the mission of the HOPE team, they're having dozens of contacts with individuals who are experiencing hopelessness. This is hopefully a tool of last resort for individuals who are continuing to refuse resources and services which are coming at the detriment of the public. We're having serious public health, public safety, and public order concerns with a specific group of people who are refusing services. For example, there are approximately 20 to 25 vacancies at the care shelter every night that are not being utilized. And in the last year, there was approximately 120 warming fires from homeless individuals that went out of control and required the city's resources to get them back under control, 4 of which involved vehicles that burned down to the rubber of the tires. This is a tool that will usually result in a criminal citation, and what that looks like is they receive a citation with a date to show up in court, at which time the judge can provide them resources. These citations are commonly referred at the outset to community court in Reno, and as you have heard, community court gets results. Community court is yet another avenue to provide resources and services to those who are willing to accept them. There are situations where this may result in an arrest, in situations involving people who refuse to identify themselves or who have a history of not complying with community court. However, it is our attempt and our hope that we can use this as a way to further nudge them toward getting resources. The people that will be affected by these ordinances, which are already criminal, but providing the clarity that they are criminal, are those who continue to refuse resources at the detriment of the public of the city of Sparks. I will now turn to Chief Crawforth, who can provide some specific examples of how this has affected the city of Sparks.
Good afternoon, Mayor Lawson, members of council. Just to restate it, Chris Crawforth, your police chief for the record and acting city manager. We heard some comments today, which I don't disagree with. Some of those are getting law enforcement back to what law enforcement is supposed to do. However, I will bring to those folks' attention that it's always us that is out there on the day-to-day, that is trying to get people resources, working with teams like Mr. Denton, some of these other teams, but it's the day-to-day that's happening. As you are aware, we approach with a service-first approach. We always do. Our average contacts for someone to take services in the city are 12 to 14 times, so say average of 13 times. That means in 13 times there wasn't an arrest, there wasn't a citation. That was us working with them, trying to identify what they needed, building trust with them, and then delivering upon those services. To Mr. Denton's points, we are truly at a point now where we have folks that just absolutely deny and refuse services. What we see within those folks is we see a use of our services, of taxpayer dollars, to put out fires. We talk about human habitation. I do not foresee at all we will not be doing someone that just pulls over and has to sleep for a couple hours because they're tired. Someone that is trying to get by. Those folks accept services. I've been with our HOPE team. I've met with folks that are down on their luck, that didn't have enough money to pay their rent because rent went up and they are living in a tent. Those folks will jump in with my folks in a minute's heartbeat to get any services that can be offered, and that is what we do. Another example of what we're seeing, you might remember back to the PowerPoint I presented in August. Really a big part that we're seeing is recreational vehicles, old recreational vehicles parked throughout our city that people are habitating in, that they refuse to change and get services after 13, 14 contacts. Humans are humans, so there are things that need to occur, meaning like our day-to-day uses of facilities. Those facilities are falling onto our streets, meaning the black water and gray water from these RVs are draining directly onto our streets, which if you look at it, drains directly into the river. There is no stop, there is no treatment center, they go directly into those. Our preferred method is community court. That is just one more avenue that is the criminal justice system, but not law enforcement, asking folks to pick a service, use it, and get back on their feet. As stated by Mariah, we had over 100 fires that your fire department had to respond to put back into control. People chose not to go use shelters that were available, as was testified, and I talked to that. Also, as I stated, our public services are being used, so We owe a service to our taxpayers as well as to all citizens, but we need folks to choose some services and help get back onto the right track for them while not increasing services to what we have here, because they're limited. And Mr. Duncan has joined me, so I'll turn it over to him.
Thank you so much. For the record, Wes Duncan, City Attorney. So just to put a point on a couple of different issues. So when traffic laws became civil infractions, we came before you and did an ordinance that changed Title 10 of the Sparks Municipal Code, changed everything that falls under Title 10. It says that unless otherwise specified, they're all civil infractions. So if you recall, as Mariah just testified, when we came before you, Hope Team said, hey, we need these tools to be able to criminalize some of the things that are impacting public health and public safety. So for example, when you saw the testimony in August and some of the pictures, the hypodermic needles that were on the river, blocking public sidewalks, we had folks were blocking public sidewalks so much that it was impacting public safety because people are having to walk out into the traffic and doing those things. I will just tell you that these ordinances that we passed, we haven't seen a huge influx of criminal misdemeanors for things that deal with homelessness. So I think that's a testament to the Hope Team that they're using this tool as a way to try to address the folks that are resistant to services, right? We're not talking about the one-time person that might be sleeping in their car. We're talking about the folks who have a resistance to services, but that is now impacting public health and public safety. So it's not criminalizing the homelessness, it's criminalizing the impact that is causing public health and public safety problems. So that's the genesis of it. Again, the intent, and you all, and we had questions from the dais that talked about the fact that these are all going to be misdemeanors. We always want to be transparent with our public and make sure that they specifically know, yep, these things that fall under Title 10, which was the intent of this body, are criminal in nature. So we want to ensure that is happening. But again, it really is a tool for our Hope Team that they told us that we needed. And so, again, really is just clarifying this issue and this discussion back in August. We didn't hear much from our public, but we want to ensure that the public, for transparency purposes, know that, of course, that this is criminal and that there was no ambiguity to that. So just thought I would add that as well. And so if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Let's go first to public comment. Well, this is a public hearing. Robert, you're up. Just give us your name for the record, please. There we go.
Hello, my name is Elvira Diaz. It has been proved that criminalizing people for being houseless is more costly than providing the service. Sparks has limited resources as it is. To make this act criminal will be overburden law enforcement and will lead to arrest and jail time to folks that just need service. I'm going to ask Donald, Diane, Paul, Ed, Charlene, Christopher, please consider to don't criminalize people. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
Okay, we're going to open up anyone in the public wishing to speak. Come on up, sir. Will you fill out a card for us afterwards, please? Give us your name for the record, please.
My name is Alan Munson, and I didn't plan on speaking, but what I want to comment on is that about 8 years ago, I spent many hours working with homeless people, and my experience was that trying to work with 15, only 2 were amenable to help and services. The rest they refused services. So I would support what I heard our acting city manager say, that we need something, we need some way to deal with those people who don't want help. And I'm a strong Christian too, and I that's why I was trying to work with people, and I learned that too many refuse the help. So I think to protect our citizens here, and since what I heard was that it's trying to be fair and balanced in dealing with it. So I know there were so many people who spoke saying these people are, and it's a sad situation, but I just would encourage you to go forward with this resolution. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Chris Garvey? And please fill out a card for us, sir.
There we go. Chris Garvey for the record. I live on the corner of Rock Boulevard and C Street. I see every single day how we need this kind of an ordinance. Every single day. My neighbors and I are impacted by those individuals who do just flat out refuse to take any help from Hope. And our police officers are run ragged. Our fire and response are run ragged, having to respond to these individuals over and over and over again. I take offense that organizations such as Faith in Action, which are probably Soros-based funded, will come into Sparks and advocate for bringing in chaos into our neighborhoods when they don't have to live with it and they're paid to do it. Our citizens want this. They're done. They're done having no rights themselves. They're not heartless people. Everybody I talk to says, if they want to hand up, we're willing to do that. But when they refuse it over and over again, and our citizens, their businesses are closing. I've talked to many businesses down on Victorian. Their biggest concern is their customers are being driven away by the drug use and the homelessness that their customers have to run through every single day just to go get a soda, their car filled, or whatever. So I know that it can be tough to stand up to those that are paid to advocate against things like this, but I hope that you will, because your citizens are done. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else in the public wishing to speak at this time? All right. Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the dais. And questions from the council, Ms. Vanderwell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a couple of questions. I think I just need clarifying questions. So, Acting City Manager Crawford, does the Hope team help in getting people IDs? Because that was brought up during one of the comments is that when they're living in their car, they may not necessarily have access to ID.
They do. That's been one of the common things since we implemented the Hope team and that's been one of the biggest holdouts for those experiencing homelessness is not having that ID, not having that Medicaid card. So that's where we're seeing where they're staying, and then we're doing some of the reach out to the DMV, to the federal government to get Social Security cards. And then once we are notified, we're essentially being their notification place. We're notified, hey, it's in. We'll go find them and many times take them down there to the different offices to obtain those.
Okay, so during this time, follow up on that. So during this time, while we're waiting to get their IDs and everything else, we're flexible with them, and we're not saying we're going to ticket you, we're going to do anything like that, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. And then probably City Attorney, Duncan, regarding community court, because we heard that community court was in Reno and things like that. I guess what my question there is, how flexible is the community court? Because we're dealing with people that are housing insecure, that if they work day labor or even work, that the time frame to get to community court, to get this settled, may be out of their reach. So I guess I want some clarification. How flexible are they?
Mariah Northington, Senior Assistant City Attorney.
Come on up here, Mariah,
Thank you.
please.
Sorry about that.
We have the millions of viewers that want to
Yes.
hear you speak.
So the cases that start here in Sparks do get referred to the Reno Sparks Community Court. It is a joint court. It is handled in downtown Reno. They are very flexible. They are aware of the community that they are working with. Most of them don't have transportation. So they have, depending on the level of help that someone needs, that dictates how often they have to show up in court, whether it's once a week or once a month, or somewhere in between there, and there's multiple days that they can show up on. They're given options. You can show up on Tuesday at 1 or Thursday at 1 or whatever it may be. So there is built-in flexibility to address the transportation and monetary concerns of the members of the court.
Okay, but there's like no nights and weekends because we have people working 2 and 3 jobs.
Correct. There are no nights and weekends.
Okay,
Just Monday through Friday.
okay, thank you.
Mr. Dare.
Yeah, I want to say thank you to all the emails, truly, and even the people who came down. I think valuing people is a very key commodity in our community, and we fan that flame. However, how we care for our community is what we need to talk about. And personally, I've worked with this community for over 30 years in the line of work that I do. And with that said, this community is to be valued, but we also value all the pieces of the community. And so looking at this, when we sit back, and it's very sad to hear that 137 people are going to have a vigil coming up, but that's because they didn't go get help. That's because they're sitting in the cold, and that's because they're not getting the health they need. And I just need people to hear that, because I don't want people to hear that we're not listening, because that's one thing that I think sometimes people think. They say things to us, and then the lawyers say things, and it's not true, but we are listening, and we are working with this. A few things I did hear. I do take the challenge that CHAB needs to meet again, and if I have to personally make that request myself, I'll make that. And so to those, I encourage you to come to that conversation and be a part of this. Continue to hold us accountable in the sense of what we're saying. This is not trying to criminalize people when they're down and hurting. We're trying to say we're guiding you to a better place. And with that said, we have a responsibility to our community to make sure that it's safe, that we don't have sewage. We have to close down parks because sewage is leaking out of vehicles, and all the different things we know that has been happening. And so I just want people to hear that and understand it as we walk forward. This is something that we very much care about. Also, there's one thing that was said. I just think it's important that people understand. So Washoe County took responsibility because that's what Washoe County taxes are supposed to do. That is, we are all part of Washoe County. And when people say, well, Sparks needs to start their own something, that actually is not true and incorrect. We need to continue to support our region and work together, and we need to hold accountable what's going on. But what is happening in Washoe County, whether it's in Reno or Sparks, whatever, we are working together in unison, and that is how it is supposed to work. That's how the taxes work, and to recreate that only creates more problems. And so with that, I'm pleased to support this, and I thank you guys for your work on this. I do think it's also important that people realize that we aren't changing anything. This is actually what we agreed to in August, and I know that the word criminal kind of gets everyone shaky, and it's one of those things that we want to come alongside and bring them to health. And I think that is the most compassionate thing that we can do, is to help guide that. So I just want to share that, and I think it's important. I know a lot of things have been thrown around today, from whether people believe and care for people or not, and I think maybe it's how we care for people we don't always have to agree on, but for me, I think it's crucial that we continue to support the HOPE team, and thank you for the HOPE team and what they do. Thank you.
Mr. Anderson.
Thank you. So some of the public comment that we received voiced concern about the facilities being full and not having room. I heard you mention quite often 25-bed capacity vacant. What if, hypothetically, you've been warned several times, but you're living in your car and those facilities are all full. What would be the scenario in that situation?
Probably should pass it off to the attorney because it's a court case, but if there is no place for them to go, there is no action that law enforcement could take even if they chose to, so, but we would not kick someone out onto the streets outside of their car at that point, but legally, we could take no action. That is one of the requirements that we must assure there is an available bed before there's any law enforcement action taken.
Okay, thank you very much. And likewise, as Councilmember Dare said, it's concerning to me that we have parks that have been closed for decontamination after raw sewage is dumped. That's going directly into our drinking water, our river that we're spending millions of dollars to keep clean. And I really do see it as a public safety situation because we've had over 120 fires, as I recall. So far, no one's been hurt or died from them, but it's just, in my opinion, a matter of time before it's going to happen. So this is a tough one. We want to be compassionate and help everyone, but I really am thankful for what the Hope team is doing and how they're working so hard to make those connections, and then likewise introducing them to all the resources that this community has. And I believe that is the best route to go, and that we do need to approve this. So thank you.
Councilman Anderson, if I could add one thing too in regards to the RVs, another point that I missed is not only do we have an RV catch on fire and our fire department shows up and extinguishes it, then we end up dealing with what's left over, meaning the police department gets involved, we tow back to usually the police department lot, we have to go through a lot of things with DMV to essentially take ownership of that property to then destroy it, and we are now paying for destruction of that property too, so.
Spivey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to thank you, Mariah, for all the information you provided, and Chief. Really, it's public safety and health of our community that is critically important, and also the public health and safety of those who are living in their cars, who are living on the street. And we really, as a community, I think since the Hope team started, the difference we've been able to make with that, every person by name, the amount of times that it takes, and you said 12 to 14 on average before someone will, because it's a trust thing. And I'm kind of learning that from your officers, that these people don't trust others, and I can understand that. And so really, it's not surprising that you have to make that many contacts with a person to build that trust, which our officers are doing, and that really we are service first. And so the service first philosophy that we have as a city and with our Hope team and just all of us, of that being the priority of providing services, of being able to get an ID, ultimately, whether it's the shelter to transitional housing to work to all of those things we want to help facilitate. And the thing that's been amazing with the Hope team is the collaboration we've done regionally with all of those groups, with all the advocates, with the different groups that actually are working with our police to help as a region not be in silos like they used to be, but to provide all the services that you need, that one individual, because what you need might be different than what I need, and everyone is individually has different needs that we can work. And it's one by one, so it's not fast. It's not a fix overnight. But I think this is one piece, one important, and you've mentioned this a number of times, Chief, is that it's a tool. And Mr. Duncan, you have too. It's a tool for our officers to persuade and push people to those services, because people who are experts, which is not me, it's the people who work with the homeless and with people who need that kind of help, the wraparound services are the key. It's the key to getting them off the streets. It's the key to keeping them in housing, in employment, and then becoming contributing members of society that really, it's step by step. But I think this absolutely is something that can help us do that. And really, the services that are offered, as Councilman Dare alluded to, really, we as a city, it's not within our responsibility of social services, because social services and indigent services are the responsibility of the county, just like he said. Our tax dollars go to the county for those things. They don't fall under Reno or Sparks. But because we believe it's such an important issue that's impacted everyone, our businesses, our residents, and the homeless themselves, we've bought into doing as much as we can. So our support for the Hope's Northern Nevada, for the CARES campus, for the Hope team, all of that shows our commitment to try and be part of the solution. And there's no silver bullet, but I really feel that we are making progress, and this is just one important piece of it. So I will be supporting the motion. Thank you.
Mr. Abbott.
Yeah, I will definitely agree. I think with all my colleagues that Hope has been very compassionate. I know the tools are tool belt. Chief, not to be on the spot, but do you know how many individuals we have helped so far with the Hope team?
I failed you, I apologize.
You're okay.
Yeah.
I happen to know that because I read the report, and it's over 500, and that's in less than 3 years.
Yep.
So that we've gotten off the street into services, 500 people just from our 3-person Hope team. So they're doing great work.
Absolutely. And
Thanks for the assist, Mayor.
You know, this is near and dear to my heart, as I want to help, but I also want people to get out of the homeless circle that they're in. But you know, you guys are doing a great job, and Sergeant Dunko, I think the world of her and the work she does. She's very good.
That's all I had. I just want to get that on the record. I think we're doing great work, that I want everyone to see that we're just adding that tool to the tool belt for our Hope team to help individuals out, obviously in all of Sparks, but I know some of my parks, some of my neighborhoods are definitely can use this as an extra tool to help out. So thanks.
Ms. Vanderwell.
First of all, I would like to thank Councilman Dare for please requesting another CHAB meeting. I know that a couple of you sit on that. And I would like to suggest that you also take up meeting with landlords and property managers, because the reason that we have some insecure housed people is because of previously being kicked out and the credit criteria and everything else. So I think our landlords and property managers really need to take a closer look at, you know, how were these incidents happening, so we quit driving people into homelessness. Thank you.
Okay. All right, anyone else? All right, then I'm looking for a motion. Ms. Bybee.
I move to approve and adopt Bill number 2819 to become effective immediately.
Mr. Dare.
Second.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second. Any further conversation? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. We have no planning and zoning public hearings. Comments from the public. Madam Clerk, do we have any comments from the public?
It looks like Mr. Wagner.
Hold on, I know it'll get to him. Bill. Hold on, let's get you a microphone. Well, we got to do it for the record so that we can hear you, yes. We need to hear your sing-song voice.
We like to quote you.
I don't think you turned that on, Donald.
Check in with me.
There we go.
I appreciate, I would like to say something to Chris. I'd like to talk to Chris after this, that's all.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, which Chris?
Call for it. Okay. All right, anyone else in the public wishing to make a statement or comment? Did you raise your hand, Andrea? All right. With that, then, I think we're on to comments from the council, city manager, mayor, nothing? Any comments from the council? Ms. Vanderwell?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Acting City Manager. I would like to request a future agenda item concerned with the zoning code permitting drive-throughs by right. In most cases, staff has done this through administrative review with the construction of a new building. But if we're going into an existing building, there may be an issue as far as drive-throughs. So I would like a potential zoning amendment back to the city council for the opportunity to add drive-throughs to items requiring administrative review for consideration and possible direction on existings. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Abbott, did you have something?
I do. Just a quick little shout out. Some of you guys might have saw the seniors or Valentine cards for senior project that I was working on. Just want to give a shout out to the whole community, Sparks and Reno. We ended up collecting 5,675 cards. So it's really to the community is the appreciation. I just help organize it, but we got them all dropped off. And today, actually, my friend Ricky Melanophy, she's a teacher out at Pinecrest, and we are able to take some of the kiddos, or she was able to take some of the kiddos around to some of the senior assisted and the senior center today and spread some joy. So it was really nice, a nice day. So all the seniors on Meals on Wheels, the senior center, Sparks, Reno, we dropped off a couple in Reno as well as assisted living, and all the Sparks assisted living centers will have Valentine cards for this coming Valentine's Day. So just one shout out to the community for making them all, because there's a lot of darn cute ones that got made. So that's it.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, now that football season's over, volunteer in your city. We're adjourned.